Welcome everyone to the Restaurant Agility Summit. Man, 2020 has been a difficult year for this industry, but with all the challenges that we're coming across, we're starting to see tremendous amount of innovation, tremendous amount of agility from partners both in and outside of the industry, trying to figure out how to make the best of this, how to make 2021 a phenomenal year and a blowout year. And who better to talk about innovation and agility than Scott Boatwright from Chipotle. Scott is the Chief Restaurant Officer at Chipotle, responsible for overseeing operations at over 2,600 company-owned restaurants with more than 85,000 employees. We've been working together with Chipotle since 2018, and it's been great to partner with them and grow with them together, both from the technology side and as their business is growing. Scott, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you, and it's a pleasure to spend time with you today.
Thanks, Vlad, and really happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Excited about the opportunity.
Of course. So as a starting point, 2020 is, to say it's been a changing paradigm is an understatement. In your most recent earnings call, you guys revealed that 60% of your business was now going through digital sales, which is an incredible achievement. Do you see a signal for a long-term shift in the way customers are going to experience Chipotle and how they'll buy food from your restaurants?
Yeah, I certainly believe so, Vlad. We had 100% growth in the digital channel in 2018 as well as 2019. So we were already seeing a shift really away from the traditional dine-in experience the last couple of years. We were fortunate enough to install digital kitchens in each location back in 2016, 2017, and really trying to be innovative and really rethink how the world was making that shift. And so coming into 2020, COVID really accelerated what we already knew to be true. And we saw almost 200% growth in the channel in Q2 alone. And so today we sit just under 50% of our business going through the digital channel. We're starting to see our in-restaurant business return, but digital is holding really strong. And so I think the industry, that said, I believe the industry was making a shift a couple of years ago. And I think I said this at RLC the last time you and I were together, Vlad, that the world is really shifting under our feet, or the ground is shifting under our feet. And we've got to rethink how we deliver the experience. And so we were very fortunate coming into COVID. We were prepared, and I think now it won't go to 100% digital, but I do believe that things will be changed at least for the near term and the long term.
Yep, no, that's great. And the Chipotle experience for customers, do you think it's going to end up shifting? Because so much of it, when I walk into one of your restaurants, is seeing the fresh ingredients directly in front of me, interacting with the individual that's making the burrito, or in my case, the salad. How does that shift in the new digital world for the experience that we have with the brand?
Interestingly, we believe that to be true as well, Vlad. But I think the food really holds its own, and I think while we're very proud of our offering in selling and delivering wholesome, nutritious food, we did see an opportunity within the app itself to increase customization, and we made those changes back during the summer. But interestingly enough, the new users to our brand during COVID came in through the digital channel, and which is our stickiest channel, and have not once stepped foot in a Chipotle restaurant. And so, and they continue to repeat. So we are seeing that the face-to-face interaction, not completely necessary. While some of our guests still enjoy that experience, the digital customer is looking for high-quality food, great tasting food that's delivered on time. And that is accurate. And so I think if we can meet those need states as an organization, we'll continue to grow that business. I think it's a really great opportunity for brands to seize additional sales through the digital channel by creating menu innovation that isn't disruptive to the traditional experience.
So on top of these changes, you guys had launched the quesadilla this summer as a digital-only item. Can you talk about that decision to offer something for online order and only, and where do you see brands starting to potentially split their menu of what might be dine-in versus what might be digital focused in the coming years?
Yeah, great question, Vlad. We've been serving quesadillas for years at Chipotle as a secret menu item. But although it's a delicious menu item, it is disruptive to overall throughput down the line and causes a bottleneck. You know, quesadilla was the #1 requested food item at Chipotle for many, many years. And we were working really hard to figure out how do we satisfy that need for our guests. And we've recognized that the digital channel is a great opportunity for us to deliver a best-in-class quesadilla experience for our guests without disrupting our traditional experience. That said, we will also leverage that platform to add other menu items or other menu innovation to continue to bring forth the items our guests want and require, and without, again, disrupting the traditional experience. So I think a lot of brands will leverage their digital channel in a unique way, and menu innovation can accelerate on that platform and give people an opportunity to test items, go on the menu and off the menu very fluidly without disrupting their standard process.
Yeah, no, it's great. So we've talked about digital. We've talked about individual new menu items that are being offered through the digital-only channel. What about the physical layout of the actual the restaurants and the locations? I think you guys launched Chipotle Lanes, the drive-throughs, earlier this year. You know, how has that changed the business and the operation? How do you think about the sort of evolving of that from a real estate footprint, given the upcoming changes that we'll have over the course of the next 12 to 24 months and that on the real estate side of the business?
Yeah, Vlad, great question. Our guests were looking for additional access to our brand over the last several years, and really was the impetus for the digital make line that we now have in almost every Chipotle restaurant. We had a clever idea, at least I thought it was clever, back in 2017, of this idea of a Chipotle lane. And the whole idea was around, again, creating access, removing friction, and allowing the guests to come through our restaurant without ever having to get out of their car. I'll tell you, it's a very quick transaction, and I think it outweighs the burdens of a traditional drive-through, as the guests can order ahead, come through the lane in a matter of seconds, be off and on their way or on to the other parts of their day with the food that they love and enjoy. And so we have over 100 Chipotle Lane restaurants in the system today, and we'll continue to move our portfolio towards Chipotle Lane development. We know that that's the way of the future and our most profitable transaction.
While the changes for the consumer are incredibly fascinating, and there's all sorts of delivery channels and buying channels that we're going to go through, let's talk about sort of the internal experience for a team member, you know, at Chipotle, right? From sanitization requirements to tamper-proof stickers for pickup and delivery orders, there's been a lot of change in less than 90 to 180 days. How do you set up employees to be successful with this? How do you keep them engaged when sometimes, you know, week to week there might be impact to what they're doing on a regular basis?
Yeah, Vlad. So the COVID crisis has been stressful for everyone in the industry. I'm certain of it. You know, our brand was really well positioned coming into COVID. We had what I believe to be best in industry food safety practices already in place. And when COVID really struck the organization back in March, we simply tightened up a few of our protocols, and we were prepared to keep our team members safe and keep our guests safe. And so at the end of the day, that was critical to us as an organization. And so we were also able to do that while keeping our restaurants open for takeout and delivery, as well as our Chipotle lanes humming. And so we were able to continue to serve wholesome, nutritious food in the communities in which we serve, which we felt was important, so that first responders could also have access to our food during the crisis. Our employees, we stayed really close to, Vlad, and I think in a time of crisis, it's an opportunity for leaders to stand tall. And how we do that is by showing empathy, by showing care and concern, by listening, and spending time in our restaurants, ensuring our team members have the right support necessary for them to be successful. What was challenging, mostly challenging through the ordeal, were the changing requirements by municipality, by state, and by federal regulations. And staying on top of each one of those was quite a challenge for our organization, but something we were able to head off very easily. We leveraged a couple of things, and I think it's critical for an organization to have strong communication pipelines or vehicles from the support centers into their restaurants, and then above restaurant follow-up is also critical. And so when we had a changing mandate, like requiring our employees to wear masks, we were able to simply deploy a Zenput task to all restaurants that they could then follow up, and we could ensure accountability from our support center that every restaurant had read the message, had actively and with discipline deployed the message through the restaurant to talk to every team member to ensure compliance in every restaurant as well. That coupled with field leader or above restaurant follow-up in each location, which our field leaders touch every restaurant once a week. We were able to ensure that we were following the right protocols and mandates for our organization, whether it was a company mandated process or a federally mandated process. We were able to stay on top of all the things that were most critical to keep our team members and our guests safe and keep our restaurants operating.
A lot of folks listening today are likely running operations with dozens or hundreds of locations, and they're thinking about kind of their push forward and where they want to be investing, and where they want to be spending their resources to grow their business. Considering the current environment, how would you approach running a business with 100 locations differently today than you would have, even 12 months ago? What are maybe the 2 or 3 areas that you would think most about investing in and spending your time as a leader in this industry?
I would start with really evaluating my team today and ensuring I have the right folks in the right places in the organization, and I'm creating the right culture in my restaurants to ensure that we're growing the business, staying on purpose, and we're delivering a great team member experience. And I think that's often missed in times like these. We have a saying here at Chipotle where the satisfaction of our guests will never exceed that of our team members. And so we continue through the COVID crisis to invest in our people. And so we were very fortunate coming into the crisis to have a strong balance sheet, which allowed us to do that, Vlad, whether that was hazard pay or assistance pay for all of our employees. We increased and improved our paid sick leave, or anyone impacted by COVID were paid for at least 2 weeks to ensure that they were able to get through the crisis and get back to work. We invested in bonuses for our managers who otherwise ordinarily wouldn't have had those bonuses due to soft sales during Q2. And so I think it's important for us as organizations to continue to invest in our folks, continue to create the right culture in our restaurants. Beyond that, Vlad, I would tell you that if you haven't already invested in a digital system for your business today, I would encourage you to thoughtfully consider innovation in that area specifically. As I said earlier, I believe the industry is making a shift, and that shift really started probably 3 years ago. And so the good news is it's not too late, but I would encourage you to rethink how you're delivering that experience, which partners you're choosing as aggregators for delivery, and your mobile solution for your guests to really gain access to your brand.
So I guess maybe the question that's on everyone's mind in terms of the impact from COVID, will we ever go back to dining and eating the way that it used to be? Do you see a lot of changes even in the way that we lay it out? I mean, might it be 12 months from now, 24 months from now, or is it even too early to tell at the moment?
Vlad, it's all speculation at this point, and we are all trying to answer that question. In my humble opinion, I believe that we as human beings like to gather. We like to come together over food. Food has always been something since the beginning of time that has brought people together where they can socialize and fellowship and share. And I don't think that changes, Vlad. I don't know that the full service experience will be as robust as it once was. I'd like to think that in a post-COVID world, we could go back to norms, or what used to be norms for us as a society. But I also think that digital is taking hold. And so, digital will continue to take occasions away from the traditional eating experience or dine-in experience. I don't know where that will level off. I can only speculate and try to ensure that we are prepared for the opportunity when it comes.
We've heard in the course of the last few months, I've had the opportunity to engage with entrepreneurs in the food industry, and one of the things that we've seen is the potential rise of digital only or delivery only brands. Are you seeing much in that experience kind of moving forward, or do you think of that as a good starting point today, but likelihood that to expand, to your point about gathering as a group, to go expand back into a dine-in facility in a couple of years from now?
Vlad, I think there's a great opportunity in the industry today to think about as you think about your brand and think about a menu of venues for your specific organization, whether that's a freestanding restaurant, whether that's an inline, whether that's an end cap, whether that's a dark kitchen, ghost kitchen, or a tech-forward, digital-only kitchen. I think all of those things will play a role in the future development of our organization. And we have to strategically leverage those venues where they make sense, whether they are a seam restaurant that we place in between two freestanding restaurants. But I do think there is an opportunity to be prepared for those or seize those opportunities when they present themselves.
I just want to say thank you for joining us today. Thank you for spending the time with us. Thank you for giving us the insights that you see in terms of where you think this industry is headed. I think for all of us in the industry, it's enjoyable to understand where there's opportunity, where we can make change, and hopefully come out of this a lot stronger as an industry across the board. So appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us in this keynote.
Of course, Vlad. Thank you for having me on. And if I could just say here, my heart goes out to all of our industry partners that are suffering or struggling through this time. And hey, we're all in this together, and we will come out of this stronger, I promise you, as an industry. And good luck.